because this is a conversation I want us to be having more openly when it comes to questions and discussions about domestic violence. We do not talk about men as survivors or victims of domestic violence. And sometimes when a story hits the headlines, it opens a door for an opportunity to kind of do that. So last 2 Aprils ago, coming up on 2 Aprils ago, I believe, April 2022, a young man by the name of Christian. My apologies for blanking on Christian's age. I want to say Christian is in his 20s. Do I have any articles up? I don't think I do. Well, that's okay. I'll be brief. Christian was a young black man in his 20s. He was in a relationship with an OnlyFans model, a white woman by the name of Courtney. Courtney was a very successful OnlyFans model. She reportedly earned up to $2 million during her career as both an Instagram and an OnlyFans model. I think she was under the name Courtney Taylor. So she and Christian were in a multi-year relationship in which they had many documented volatile arguments, in which a couple of times it is clear that Courtney was being physically aggressive and escalating these arguments by either making accusations towards him, calling him names, demeaning him, and a variety of behaviors that I think are textbook abuser. And I want us to look at the ways in which these behaviors present themselves from a woman's perspective, right? When the abuser is the woman, what does that look like, right? And what, if any, resources and services are available for men who are survivors and victims of domestic violence. But I want us to go. Let me bring you to the latest news in this case. So the news, I'm sorry, I did not mention the most important part. Courtney killed Christian, murdered him. Oh, pardon me, allegedly murdered him, because she will soon be facing trial for second-degree murder in his killing. And let me just say something real quick. Murder is a legal term. So journalistically, supposing I'll say murder, okay, because you get convicted of murder. Murder is a legal term. So technically a person is not a murderer, supposedly, until they have been convicted of murder. But they have killed somebody, right? You can legally, journalistically say she killed him because she did kill him. That's a fact that's not in dispute. But when you're not supposed to call people murderers, is what I'm saying. So I'm gonna say alleged murderer, even though I don't think it's alleged. In alleged just requires me to literally say the word alleged. Alleged does not require my belief in whether or not said thing is alleged. I do not believe this is an alleged murder. I believe this is an intentional murder, but I say alleged to CYA. So anywho, that happened April 2022 when she killed Christian. She was not immediately arrested after this killing, by the way. Christian was stabbed in the chest. What she told authorities was that she threw the knife from across the room and it wedged in his chest 3 inches deep. The medical examiner found that was bullshit, that Christian was stabbed in a downward motion with the blade penetrating his chest 3 inches deep. Courtney has been held since she has been arrested without bond. She was recently denied bond in the last couple of weeks. So she's in jail. But the latest news is that her parents have now also been arrested. Her parents were living in Texas. They have been arrested and are facing extradition to Florida, where Christian was killed, for allegedly removing Christian's laptop computer from the crime scene and improperly accessing it. So I want us to go to the latest developments, and then I want us to sort of circle back, because this is a trial I'm going to be watching, everybody. There's a lot of dynamics at play in this shit, okay? The most obvious of which is that Christian was a black man and Courtney is a white woman. And this shit happened in Florida. Now, it didn't have to happen, the South as the backdrop. It plays a part, but it don't have to, because this shit would still be an issue if it was the same racial and gender dynamics in fucking Massachusetts, right? Like, it would still be like, how is this going to go? Because this black man was with this white woman. What's this going to look like? How is the jury in this area going to be influenced by their own biases? There's a lot of questions here. But first, let's start off with the most recent news pertaining to the arrest of Courtney's parents for tampering with shit. Let's take a look.
Now at 5:30, the parents of OnlyFans model Courtney Clenney are facing charges tonight. It's connected to the investigation into her boyfriend's killing.
Now, we just learned minutes ago that Clenney's mother bonded out of jail. However, her father tonight remains in custody.
It is the latest twist in a story that has made international headlines. CBS News Miami's Anna McAllister has the new details and what they could mean for the case against Courtney Clenney.
According to the affidavit, Clenney's parents, Kim and Deborah, are accused of holding on to and accessing the laptop of Clenney's deceased boyfriend, Christian Obumseli. So what does this mean for the case? Well, I spoke to a local legal expert. He's in. It's a criminal case that's turned into a family affair. Tuesday, Kim and Deborah Clenney were booked into the Travis County Jail in Texas, as their daughter Courtney sits in jail in Miami on murder charges.
We believe it's incriminating evidence, and it goes to the cover-up, which my family has always believed.
Courtney, a former OnlyFans model, is accused of stabbing her boyfriend Christian Obumseli to death in their Miami apartment in 2022. Now, prosecutors say her parents accessed and took Obumseli's personal laptop from the crime scene.
Clearly, what they did was illegal. Clearly, the attorney's office was correct in filing charges.
According to the affidavit, the Clenneys accessed or caused to be accessed the victim's laptop with knowledge that such access was unauthorized. So what does this mean for the case?
If law enforcement determines that there was some effort to either delete or try to alter or to do something with the contents that is contained within that laptop, then not only would you see the state attorney's office for Miami-Dade hold firm on the third-degree felony, there could potentially be additional charges filed.
An attorney for the Clenneys provided us with this statement that reads in part, "We believe the Clenney family has been targeted with some trumped-up charges to discredit them in the press and make their lives miserable. It stinks of a power play by the prosecutors to control the narrative." This Thursday, the state is seeking a gag order in the case. Now they've gone after Courtney's mom and dad in such a way that requires them to spend considerable time in jail without bond. If Kim and Deborah Clenney are found guilty, they could face up to 5 years in state prison. Reporting in Miami, Anna McAllister, CBS News, Miami.
Let me tell you what the prosecutors say these goofy motherfuckers did. They said that they had a long running group chat in which I suppose it had to have been Courtney. Had to have been Courtney, because she's been charged with this exact same thing, or at least being a participant in illegally obtaining and accessing Christian's computer, right? So they charged her too. So long story short, they said that there was a long running group chat between her parents, her, can't remember if the lawyer was on the thread or not, but she's texting him like potential passwords. She's, telling them the computer's right there. But here's my question for the Miami-Dade law enforcement or whoever it was tasked with investigating the murder of Christian. Y'all didn't take his computer out of the crime scene, the place where he was murdered? I mean, I kind of thought that was standard operating procedure for homicide. I mean, I watch enough propaganda. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a Lifetime television auntie. I am an ID channel auntie. You understand? I know police procedure. And homicide is supposed to come and confiscate all the victim and everybody's fucking electronics, basically. Anybody who had anything in the goddamn house, iPads, iPods, iPhones, Androids, desktops, Macs, anything. Everything's getting took, right? Because there's obviously potential evidence or data on these electronic devices that what I would assume could help bolster the prosecution's case. But these goofy motherfuckers left the murder victim's computer behind. And mind you, like I said, Courtney wasn't immediately arrested for Christian's murder. Like, it took some prodding. It took some pressure publicly from Christian's family. Like, the fuck is up? Like, this chick done stabbed our loved one to death, and here she is chilling. When they finally caught up with Courtney, y'all, she was in fucking Hawaii. She didn't stick around. She got the fuck out of Dodge. But she had the privilege to do that. We'll get to the privilege here shortly. Whew. So that's the latest of where we are. Now, I don't believe jury selection has not yet begun in this trial. Like, this is going to be a widely watched trial. And again, for the reasons that I said, in part, somewhat the salaciousness of she being an OnlyFans model, which, she provided adult content, sexually exploitive, not exploitive, explicit content. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a problem with sex work. Generally, I definitely don't have a problem with OnlyFans models, and good on her if she was good at her job. But as it pertains to her being a girlfriend or a partner to this young man, this woman was a menace. She was a monster. There was a number of videos that have already been floating around the internet showing their disagreements, their arguments, and honestly, outright showing the foundation for what would eventually lead up to this young man's murder. And I think it's important that we look at this behavior, identify, how it lines up with basically abusive and manipulative behavior as we, I guess, are more socialized and normalized, even to see it and expect it from men. But the way so there's a lot been made about how aggressive she is in these videos, and we are going to look at a couple of them. Let me give y'all content and trigger warnings for that. But I think it's important. I definitely do. But the fact that she behaves so badly is one thing that is getting a lot of people's attention. But really, what I want y'all to also focus on is Christian's response. His response to the verbal abuse, his response to the emotional badgering, his response to the accusations of, him flirting or him looking at another girl or whatever. I can't see what more this young man could have done to diffuse these specific instances, but I believe that it's these handful of spats. I can't even call them spats because I really don't think that's a big enough word, right? These conflicts, these interactions. It's clear to me. I'm taking it as an overall representation of the tenor of their relationship, right? And I could be wrong for making that assumption. But anyway, Will, what do I have up there first? I'm sorry. Let me take a look here. I'm deeply perplexed by the enormity of the situation. And I'm not 100% confident that the dumbass fucking police and the dumbass fucking prosecutors are going to be able to convict this white woman for killing this black man in Florida in 2024. Like, I'm not 100%. I'm not sold on that. Like, I don't think this is an open and shut case, despite the fact I think that it's obvious that she was the aggressor. I'm still like, this still's America. So actually, this is where I want us to go. As I said, a number of these videos of their conflicts have been making the rounds, but I want us to take a look at a report. I believe this was out of Vegas, and this was out of 2021. Mind you, Christian was stabbed to death by Courtney in 2022, but the year before that, Courtney was actually arrested in Las Vegas and charged with domestic violence. And I think, again, like with most abusers and predators, there's a pattern leading up to the most catastrophic moment, right? Like it's been on the record, like it's known that this chick is violent. She was even arrested for it. Let's take a look at this package that sort of details that arrest.
Hold on. Hey Kim, you want the TMZ one or the TikTok first?
Let me get the TikTok, please.
All right,
Will.
1 second. Got
Thank
it.
you. Thank you. And again, ooh, y'all, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, y'all, it's important. It's important. We got to see this. And when I started to do some research, and I have been researching this, by the way, but like,
Ready when you
okay, let's go on and run that. So check out the arrest of Courtney Clenney in 2021 in Las Vegas for domestic violence against Christian. Let's take a look.
Disturbing scene involving a social media model and her boyfriend. Las Vegas police responding to a fight between the two months before she stabbed him to death.
7 Shuttle Fox has the exclusive audio that could complicate her claims of self-defense.
Months before becoming a murder suspect,
you'll get to see a judge and they'll walk you through the process.
There was this trouble well away from Miami.
Courtney Clenney.
It's July 27th of 2021 in Las Vegas. Courtney Clenney is being arrested by police, accused of attacking her then-boyfriend, Christian Obumseli. He's in tears upon learning Vegas cops will arrest Clenney for throwing a glass at him earlier in the night inside this messy hotel room, where cops later combed for clues. The couple had argued while on vacation before it got physical, and Clenney ended up in custody of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department and jailed for domestic battery.
Has she ever tried to kill you?
This body camera footage obtained by 7 News.
Oh, okay.
The video, part of the prosecution's collection of evidence, ahead of a scheduled hearing Tuesday in Miami-Dade court. But there's another, more recent clip, provided only to 7. It's a March 5th recording of Clenney, taken by Obumseli, almost exactly a month before she fatally stabbed him in their Miami condo. Prosecutors say it shows Clenney had homicidal ideas regarding her boyfriend when she said this.
I'm actually not having a good day, where I actually literally want to kill you, but you don't take me seriously. Baby, I'm so sorry.
On April 3rd of this year, Obumseli was stabbed by Clenney before he died at Jackson later that night. Clenney's been in jail since August awaiting trial.
I'm sorry, gang. Like I hate to see, the hindsight be 2020. And sometimes things that are obvious, don't become obvious until after the bad or catastrophic thing has already happened. And Christian was correct to be running tape on this chick. But unfortunately, again, him running tape on her did not help to save his life. He just documented his abuse, hopefully to the point where a jury in Miami-Dade County, Florida, will understand that he was a victim of intimate partner violence. And the person who committed this violence against him was a woman, his girlfriend, Courtney Clenney. So I have to give a content warning for this next clip we're about to play. TMZ had this, and it didn't have to be TMZ. I will credit TMZ because I got it from them, but this shit has been making the rounds, this and others. And again, I really don't like to do the trauma porn, to be honest. And that's why this next video we're about to hear and see, like I said, there were several others. And I don't think that I needed to pull 4 and 5 clips of this fucking terrible person berating her partner for y'all to get the point. Okay, right? Because again, there was lots of minutes of her wilding the fuck out on this dude in front of others, by the way. People who, I guess, and again, it's hard to gauge by a snapshot, a 2-minute, 5-minute snapshot into that particular point in time for those folks. So I don't know if people actually intervene, but not from the videos and not from any of the reporting that I've heard. I have not heard, the couple had to be separated by friends. No, I've heard the police get involved. I've heard building management have to, hotel management have to come and see what the fuck is up. But whoever the fuck was running tape, not whoever it was, not Christian, right? Whoever was in their circle, in their sphere, I don't know what was done to intervene here. But regardless, so content warning for abusive language, abusive behaviors, for assault. She puts her hands on him in this clip. And she berates him. She diminishes him. She is using her powers not only as a white person, but as a white woman, and as a white woman with some means. And you're going to hear that. You're going to hear her throw her money in his face. That is a form of abuse. That is a form of emotional and financial manipulation and abuse. And I'm telling you, this bitch is textbook. She really is. So anyway, let's take a look at this clip. I believe this was filmed in Aspen when the couple were there vacationing. I'm not certain of the date, so my apologies for that. So let's take a look at this clip.
Anyway, I was fucking sober for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And now why am I not sober? Because of you. You're hindering my progress.
You need to sit down. You need to sit
Let go of me.
Yes.
Let go of me.
Come on.
Let go of me.
Okay.
Come on, boy. Let go of me. I can't even, I'll talk to you later. Get the fuck off me.
You don't want to hit me?
Christian, he saw me, and I know he's looking. I'm fucking, fed up with you. I'm fed up. I'm fed up with how you fucking treat me. Yes, I'm not mad at you.
You let Milan say some lying-ass shit that affected you.
I didn't let her say anything.
I didn't say...
You fucking did it.
Hey, let's go to Milan right now. Let's pull up to her.
No, I'm just gonna say her the same.
No, she's in the group chat. Let's put her on the phone right now.
I dare you.
Yeah, you dare me? Keep saying
you
it.
You do it?
Then stop saying it then.
Do it?
Then stop saying it then. Then stop saying it then. Ask her. Ask her, did I touch her breast yesterday?
Do you see how fucking instigative he is?
No, you're telling me I touched her breast yesterday when I fucking...
You did. I didn't say you fucking touched it.
You said I did.
You were leaning. Yo, you were dumb as fuck. I actually don't agree with you. Actually, I'm done.
Okay.
Can you send him home?
Yeah.
Actually, I'm done.
Okay, fine.
Fucking done. Done. Because you're fucking you're costing me money. I didn't do shit since I got to this fucking house because of you.
You let Milan say some lying-ass shit?
No, because you were fucking flirting with fucking 3 girls the whole time.
What 3 girls? What 3 girls? You?
Well, maybe
it didn't matter. You?
Milan.
Milan? I was flirting with Milan?
And she's saying, hey, come get your man.
You're fucking lying.
He's trying to come home with me.
You're lying.
No, I'm not.
You're lying. She said, come get your man, that I was trying to hit on Milan. Come on, baby.
Okay.
That doesn't even sound right.
Christian, you're fired.
Fine.
Hopefully, shut up.
You will never see me again. You are the most
good bitch. Motherfucker
I ever met in my
Hopefully
life.
you will let me.
Courtney.
Fuck you too. Get the fuck out of here. This isn't your fucking house.
Yeah, cool.
It's not my house. You're just like my fucking boyfriend. Get the fuck out of here.
Just like your boyfriend?
I can actually get shit done if you're not here.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Okay, I'll remember that next time.
Get out of here. No, that's not gonna be the next time. Get the fuck out.
Stop touching
Get out.
me. Don't touch me again.
Good thing, get out, bitch. Get out.
Bitch.
You never loved me. The way you talked, the way that you treated the fucking girls last night, you fucking embarrassed me. I don't want anything to do with you.
Embarrassed yesterday. You're really just self-conscious. You always talk about, oh, Christian, you like this. I say, what did I tell you before? You're the baddest person in this bitch. No one has anything on you. I tell you this every day. I have text messages that you say, Christian, thank you for the content.
Shut up! But you don't do it the next day!
Why are you screaming? There's people in this house.
Get out, get out, get out, for real.
Yeah.
I never want to see you again.
Whew, that's not easy to watch. That's not easy to hear. And all I have is so much sympathy for Christian and honestly rage towards Courtney. Cause it's like, you just heard some of the ways in which she was gaslighting him. You know what I mean? I was sober for 2 weeks until you did. So what? Your sobriety depends on his behavior. Like, it's his fault that you got back on whatever substance you were on. That's manipulative, right? Talking about asking the third person in the room, do you hear how he instigates? I didn't hear him instigating anything. I heard him trying to speak to her in a very calm and rational way. I heard her continuing to escalate and ratchet up the situation and threaten his stability, right? Can you telling her assistant, I don't know who the other person was who was running tape. Can you send him home, right? Can you get him the fuck out of my face? Because obviously, as the breadwinner in the relationship, Courtney had the ability to do that, right? If she didn't want to see Christian in her face no more, she would rid herself of him, remove him from her presence, right? That's a form of abuse, right? Telling him he's fired. So now you jeopardizing his livelihood, but just dangling these things over him, like knowing that, I guess in some ways he was dependent on her for housing, for income, etc. And some might argue, well, he was a grown man. He was supposed to have his own. I guess. I mean, but there's women that find themselves in that situation, in that financially dependent, emotionally dependent situation, all the time. So it doesn't shock me or surprise me or make me think any less of Christian because he was dependent on her for these things. Anyway, but that shit don't even matter. Like, he could have been 100% dependent on her for everything. It absolutely did not give her a right to kill him. But you hear the false accusations. Oh, I don't know if they were false, but the accusations of looking at other girls, talking to other girls. You never loved me. You're the worst boyfriend. I hate you. You know what I mean? And all the while, still putting her hands on him, doing a lot of pushing, doing a lot of touching, smacking and such. I certainly am under no fallacy that I'm sure she did a lot more, even in advance of her killing Christian, right? I'm sure she put she was arrested for it at least once in Las Vegas for domestic violence. It's documented. So where does this leave? First of all, again, her trial is slated to start in Miami this month. That jury selection is gonna be a mother, okay? That jury selection is gonna be a mother, y'all, because we know. I mean, it's black folks in Miami-Dade, but there's also a lot of anti-blackness in Miami-Dade, right? From everybody, okay? From the whites, from the Cubans, right? Like, it's hard. I imagine, for black folks, immigrant black folks, black folks and black Americans, right? It's gonna be a little tough. And I'm not so convinced that America has progressed to the point that a lot of people potentially are going to be bringing their hangups surrounding the racial and gender dynamics between Christian and Courtney. That they are not going to be bringing that to the courtroom. Just count on it, right? This is America. Like, it's 2024. Kamala Harris is the vice president. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody gives a fuck. This is America, bitch. If America didn't have racism, what would it be? I'm concerned because, to me, this is not a slam dunk case. And the police have already started off on the wrong fucking foot by not collecting all the evidence at the scene of the crime and by belatedly making an arrest of Courtney Clenney. What was the other part of? But the other part about this, guys, is what was Christian's alternatives, right? Like many victims and survivors of domestic violence, I'm sure Christian got a lot of advice. Why don't you just leave? Why don't you just go? She's so terrible. Why don't you just leave? And kind of for the reasons that I mentioned before, there may have been clearly some dependency there. He may not have the ability to leave, just like a lot of women cannot just up and go from domestic violence situations from male partners, right? For all kinds of reasons. But what are the resources available for men who are themselves victims of domestic violence? They estimate that 1 in 10 men in both hetero and same-sex relationships will experience domestic violence at some point. But again, like most of these statistics, it is widely assumed that that is an undercount, right? That is not a fully accurate representation of exactly how many men experience domestic violence. I've had a couple of my guy friends be on the receiving end of domestic violence, and it's like, what do you even tell them? You know what I mean? Like, I can't tell. I think I might have told one of my guy friends, like, dog, you can't just, what was that? Was that an old Jamie Foxx stand up? You can't just shake the shit out of her. Oh, no, it was Chris Rock. You can't just shake the shit, like, shake her ass. and they was like, yo, I could, but she still got the knife in her hand, right? Like, you know, I could shake her, but that's just bringing her a little closer to me, right? Do I want to be in that close proximity of somebody that is, you know, potentially threatening my life? And it's really hard. Like, as difficult as you can imagine it is to offer up advice to a woman who is experiencing violence in her relationship with a man who may be cohabitating or even married to a man, like, and may even have children with this man, may have a business with this man, may have all kinds of shit with this man. Like, it's as difficult as you can imagine it is to tell that woman, you know, to leave, or how to respond. It's like, what do you tell a man? Like, how do you because the basic fact is that men don't get a lot of consideration out here. Jesus, am I going soft? I'm out here taking up for the men. Something's the matter. Ooh, let me check my temperature. But my point is, like, the response to a man who is making a claim of domestic violence against a woman is, you couldn't just handle her? Like, you couldn't handle that situation? Like, you let her get that close to you? You let her overpower you? How could you let her stab you? Aren't you stronger than her? Couldn't you stop her? And the fact of the matter is, people respond differently when presented in either life or death situations or situations in which they experience trauma, right? People have fight or flight. Some people freeze. Some men, I would imagine, would think that there's only 2 responses here, right? Like, I either do nothing or I kill her, or slap the shit out of her. And you know, especially as a Black man, regardless of the race of the woman that you slapping, well, maybe not regardless, but generally, like, if you defend yourself from violence with violence, a man correctly should assume that he is going to be more likely to go to jail, right? So if she's hitting you, slapping you, and you slap her, and then all of a sudden, so the jaw is out of play, and you only slapped her one time to her 10 times slapping you, you are going to be the one in trouble. And I am empathetic. I hear that. I understand that. That is real. That is a thing. How do we help brothers that are in these situations? Men generally, but because we're talking about the murder of a Black man in an intimate partner violence situation, I'm talking to brothers because I can understand brothers. Y'all don't want to, y'all no. A man that has been in an abusive relationship does not want to admit that he's been in said relationship or that kind of relationship, because people emasculate men. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not at the height of masculinity, which I guess in some ways assumes that you can and will and should physically dominate a woman if need be, and if you don't do that, then you're somehow less than a man. And that's not accurate, because I think attempting to walk away from a situation is showing tremendous masculinity, right? Like, the primitive brutality, somewhat default nature of a man would have him respond to a woman bringing him violence with violence. But to me, the height of masculinity is having the self-awareness and the maturity and the understanding that it's not reciprocal levels of violence. Like she might be bringing a ton of violence towards you, but if you reciprocate at the same level, it's going to hit different. Pardon the pun. But unfortunately, it's like I don't know what Christian could have done to save his life. Again, some would argue that he should have left. Some would argue that he should have retaliated more physically. I think in some way Christian didn't think that I don't know. I'm kind of torn about whether or not Christian believed that she would kill him or not. Because on one hand, I feel as though he had to have suspected it, or else he would not have run the tape on her that he did, right? Like something in him told him that he needed to document this himself, right? He knew that the shit had been documented by closed camera, closed circuit TV in their, condo building, and friends / associates, her assistants or whatever, had documented some stuff, but he needed to run tape himself, because if that's how that bitch act in front of company, right, in front of others, the shit she must have been saying to him when it was just the two of them, I can only imagine. And the shit that she was doing it to him when it was just the two of them behind closed doors, I can only imagine. So, and I really don't know what the signs are for men who are experiencing domestic violence. I don't know if they isolate themselves potentially in the same way. I would imagine the survival behaviors or the reactions. A lot of victims would have similar responses to intimate partner violence, but I wonder sometimes, you know what I mean? If the responses are gendered in some way, like how do men respond to domestic violence versus how women respond? And I just think that, men are just more likely to be introverted with it. I think they are definitely less likely to express it. But make no mistake, let Christians lost a life be an example. Like, please don't think that fellas can't lose their lives out here to a woman. They absolutely can. To a woman who may even claim to love you, a woman you may have children by, a woman you might be married to, right? Like, I mean, the shit can go down. And trust me, I ain't gone completely soft out here, y'all. I mean, when we talking about proportionality, I mean, there's no question. Like, the mandem got that whole shit on lock. Like, dudes kill way more of their women partners than women partners kill their men. But just because it happens at a lesser rate doesn't mean don't talk about it, right? Like, to the contrary, we actually need to loud it up more. And from what I was doing, basic, some cursory research, fellas who may be experiencing domestic violence, I mean, the hotlines and the resources that you think are only available for women, they're actually available for men too. Now, to the extent that there are shelters or emergency housing in place for men, I think you would have to try to contact wherever your local municipality is, your town, to see what kind of services there are available. But if they're not available equally for men, that sounds like a lawsuit. I mean, that sounds like some people need to get sued, because there absolutely needs to be equal access. Because we're not going to pretend as though men are not victims ever of domestic violence. They absolutely are, and their needs of an emergency kind need to be addressed. That also requires, make sure that they have funding and resources. But I think most emergency or crisis assistance for domestic violence victims, they're trained to talk to everybody. You know what I mean? They're trained to talk to everybody. So if you know of a man, or if you are a man that is experiencing something like that, call them places that you think is just for women, because it's not just for women. It is for y'all too. Okay. And if anybody tells you that they're going to kill you, and they're not saying that shit in jest, you understand? Like, they didn't say that shit like, if you don't pick up your socks, I'm gonna kill you. You know what I mean? Like, if, like you kind of know the context of things. Like, yes, she is serious about me picking up my socks. No, I don't think she's serious about killing me. But the way that bitch talked, Christian, she was like, and she even said it. She's like, you think I'm fucking playing, right? Do not take her, him, them. Don't take them for a joke. If somebody says some shit to you in a very serious tone, don't laugh that shit off. Don't shrug it off. Don't excuse it away. Oh, she didn't really mean it. No. Because verbalizing something is the step after thinking about it, right? So by the time someone has actually let the thing come out their mouth, they've already thought about the shit, okay? Lots. And them saying it aloud is just the first time they've said it. They have been thinking about the shit, and you better take them at their word. Don't play games when someone is making what I definitely would not consider to be an idle threat. If it's said in anger, or, you know, with meanness behind it, or with malice, or, you know what I mean, with aggression behind it, you better take that shit fucking seriously. Whew. Anyway, y'all, we are going to be keeping an eye on this trial. Yeah, because it's going to be a doozy, quite the doozy. But anyway,